Good morning, my name is Bijoy. I'm going to do a presentation for my dissertation. The world is changing dramatically, and the evolution from a small domestic firm to an established international company is a key step for any organization. In recent years, it is required that manufacturing firms consider internationalizing their operations. In times of globalization, this issue is greatly significant for scholars and practitioners, and a great deal of research has been conducted in this field. This presentation is about internationalization of clothing industry. Internationalization is a process of increasing involvement in international operations, and there are many process models of internationalization like Uppsala internationalization model, innovation related internationalization model. All these models will be discussed in detail in the dissertation. Let's see the definition of internationalization. Internationalization is a multi-dimensional process of increased incorporation of inward and outward company activities outside the borders of the home country. Internationalization has been viewed as a process of increasing involvement of enterprises in international market. What is the importance of internationalization? Internationalization provides opportunities not only for growth of revenue but also for the exchange of knowledge and enhancement of capabilities, which strengthen the long-term competitiveness of the firm. Companies go internationalize to broaden their workforce and obtain new ideas. And as internationalization is a challenging and an on-trend topic in today's international business and retail industry, is there a need to do research on this? Let's see the significance of studying about internationalization in retailers. It is important to study about internationalization of retailers because it is a new trend and the changed phase of international business. There's a lot of opportunities in developing countries as the countries are developing and thus the market. Recession affected almost every sector of business. Does it have an impact on internationalization? Yes, there's many international companies have been affected by recession, and the trend of emerging market changed to developing countries like India and China. However, research indicates that there is one prominent industry which has comparatively least affected, which is nothing but the clothing and fashion industry. That is why the researchers choose clothing industry to do their research on. Let's see more in detail in the next slide. I choose clothing industry because less studies was focused on clothing industry, and I do have some personal interest in the field of clothing and fashion. Since clothing industry has successful during the recession time and it's dynamic and competitive, which increased my interest. Clothing industry faces high risk of copying, like in the case of Burberry, the Chinese company was selling its counterfeit products in internet. The previous researchers that emphasize on internationalization of retail sector expressed the need for looking to theories about learning knowledge. It is those who argued that even though many researchers on internationalization focused on knowledge sharing and theories, very less has emphasized on the process on how the process occurs, which according to him can give a complete understanding about impact of retail internationalization. This highlights the significance of the study. The literature search showed that many motives can be there for firms to internationalize. It can be to become an international organization for expanding their sales, or by internationalizing the company gains knowledge and resource. What can be the motives of clothing retailers to expand globally? This is something that researchers wanted to find. They wanted to grow as an international organization and to acquire knowledge and resource which would increase the quality of its service and product, and thus a competitive edge against its competitors in home and host nations. Another understanding is that firm follows different strategies to internationalize. Like they follow the process of targeting the market segment, selecting the mode of entry, selecting strategy which should be used. These are some international players. British company Marks and Spencer's opened its first store in India to take advantage of the nation's blooming middle class. Zara, a Spanish company, was to produce look-alike clothing line of expensive clothing fashion at a low price. Zara enters the new market with a unique kind of product the company has come up with. Now it has stores in more than 84 countries. In case of Burberry, it has customized its design for Indian consumers, as the Indian consumer prefer little bit of beads and crystals on their outfits. It is, in the case of H&M, it is a Swedish-based organization which aims at offering fashion clothing at inexpensive prices. Its main idea is that the industry analyzed the elements like demography, employability, and power of purchase in its behavior. Primark expanded their business by conquering the near markets. Pepe, a British brand, has grown tremendously through franchising 275 stores all over the world. My interpretations led me to these research questions. What are the reasons and motives for these clothing retailers to internationalize? What are the different modes of entry to a foreign market? How do they choose? And an international market, or why do they go to a specific country, or why do they target a particular segment in that country? What are the strategies do they use to internationalize? My research so far, there are several factors which act as push and pull factors for the industries. The factors which motivated the industries to internationalize are basically advancement in technology, good support from stakeholders and home government, dominance in market share, pressure of competition, supportive policies of foreign government, competition at home, and increased profit. The legal and political factors are major factors considered in the screening process. The flexible and friendly factors attract the companies easily when compared to strict and rigid forces. The financial environment, which is a result of political dealing, plays a significant role in selecting the market for major industries to do business. It is important for the apparel industries to take full advantage at this time to enter such countries which show high potential. Cultural factors are one of the major factors which decide the survival of a firm in internationalization. Elements like religion, tradition form the integral factor which are directly associated with the emotions of perspective of customers. How far these studies will be true in clothing industry will be found in the dissertation. Modes of entry. The very critical factor for any clothing company to enter an international arena is to select the right kind of entry mode. By selecting the right entry method, the risk involved is reduced to a greater extent. Export is the process of selling goods from home country to other countries. In this method, the involvement level is very low, therefore the manufacturer does not deal much with the business in the foreign, and it is only distributor who deals with the products. Licensing is the process of a company giving its permission to another company to produce their products under their brand name. Even though the distributor produces and sells the product, the manufacturer is solely responsible for the product, and also they face a very intense risk of loss to lose control of quality of the product and distribution in the market. Joint ventures are established when two industries join and form a common business unit for a particular period. This mode of entry is quite safe, and also there is more involvement in the business dealings. Here the risk shared between the two units. Wholly owned subsidiary, a firm decides to establish themselves completely in a foreign market and deal with all activities of business right from the production to the sales directly. In this mode, the involvement is very high and the risk is also very high. How does clothing industry choose their modes of entry is discussed in detail in the dissertation. The clothing retailers gain competitive edge in the market by maintaining speed along with the capability to cater the latest trends in fashion quickly to the customer. Thus it is called adapting to quick fashion, which means that these industries have to minimize the time taken to design and deliverance of the product. The outlet creates demand, creating demand. The outlet creates the demand by producing apparels in limited number. When they sell out the product, they replace it with a new style so that the customer feels a surge to purchase the item immediately. This makes the brand famous and consumers all over the world welcomes it. Another strategy is through promotion through social media. Many companies adopt this by integrating their marketing strategies with social media, thus engaging the customers to discuss about their brands. The researches so far has generated more interest, and I would like to seek answers to two more questions. Which is a better and the successful mode of entry? What are the barriers and problems? And the need for adopting new strategies for internationalization. These are the references that I have used. The study is aimed at investigating the internationalization of clothing retail industry. Thus, emphasis was given to understand the reasons by these firms to internationalize their markets. Thank you.